Welcome back to the Thrifty Food Plan channel, friends. If you're new here, I am Jay. I am so glad all of you are here. So this is my second batch dinner based on the grocery haul and meal plan I did a little while ago. And I'm making one of my favorite things in the whole wide world. It is a relatively simple recipe for which you need minimal ingredients, although there is one special ingredient I want to talk about. So, you will need a can of chickpeas, rinsed and drained. You also will need, this is a sweet onion. If I were an Instagrammer, I would tell you that you need a purple onion, but I don't have one of those, so we're gonna use what I have, just a sweet onion. I'm gonna dice up about a quarter of this. And then you need just a few grapes. Now, I would say that purple grapes would be better for a little bit of color, again, sort of being an Instagrammer. The other thing you can do is if you have dried cranberries already in your pantry, you can rehydrate those in some water and use those instead. Sorry, Pooch is here again, pet sitting again. So that is an option. It doesn't work great with raisins, but grapes, just a couple of grapes, like a big handful of grapes. Prefer purple ones. They didn't have them at the store, so I got the green ones, but the purple ones will add a little color, which would be nice. And then you're gonna need some fresh mint. And I bought a little regrowable one when I went to the store. But you can probably use dried mint if you don't have it. If you don't have fresh, you also could buy one of the little packets of mint. Then it will be important to have some balsamic vinegar. You probably could use white wine or red wine vinegar. I would not recommend white vinegar or apple cider vinegar, okay? And then sort of the super secret ingredient here is my favorite grain in the whole wide world, farro. Now, if you don't have farro, you can use barley or you can use brown rice. So even if you don't have farro in stock, this is a recipe you can still make. Now, with a little salt and pepper in these ingredients, you can make something absolutely delicious. However, I'm gonna make a little something special for me. She is so lovey. She thinks she's a lap dog, but she's giant. Anyway, so I'm gonna make a special topping to go on this salad for me. I'm gonna make some vegan feta cheese. And this is an optional topping. You don't have to have it. And if you're an omnivore, by all means, you can put in some regular feta, or if you had like mozzarella balls, you could dice those up really small and put them in for a little extra flavor and protein. But the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the vegan feta, the optional topping, because it does have to marinate all day. So let's get to it. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put 1 cup of water in here. All right, and now I am one of those folks who puts dry ingredients in first. Not exactly sure why I do that, but I do, after I put the base in. So for dry ingredients here, I'm gonna need, this is garlic powder. I'm gonna need a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. Yummy, yummy. Gonna need a teaspoon of dried oregano or basil. This is oregano. This is a 1/2 teaspoon. So I'm gonna put a teaspoon in. Now the recipe, and I'll link it below, but the recipe calls for a full teaspoon of salt. I'm not gonna do that because there's other salty stuff in here. So I'm gonna do a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Actually, I'm not. I'm gonna do a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, And then finally, it calls for a tablespoon of peppercorns, which I don't have, so I'm just gonna use a half a teaspoon of coarse ground pepper, which is kind of what I use on the daily. All right, that is all of my dry ingredients. Now this is, oh no, it's not. I need a tablespoon of nutritional yeast. And I'm wondering if this is crooked. Is that crooked? If it's crooked, I apologize. I don't know. Okay. And 1 tablespoon of nutritional yeast. Okay. Now, I need to add my wet ingredients. And so, I've already got a cup of water in here. Now, if you were wondering why I bought the olives at the grocery store, it is because I need the olive brine that's in here. Now, you also could use like the black olives, but I don't like those kind of olives, so I'm not using that. All right, so 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons. All right, and then I'm gonna need 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. You could use fresh lemon if you have it, but I'm reserving mine for other uses. Ooh, oh well. All right. Now it calls for white wine vinegar, but I don't have that. So I'm gonna use, this is a gift that my stepmom gets me every year. This is a balsamic vinegar they sell at my parents' house up in rural West Virginia. So again, if you have white wine vinegar or red wine vinegar, use that, but I don't have it. Okay, so 1 tablespoon of vinegar. Okay, now there are 2 ingredients that you can add in, one of which I do not have. So if you want this extra silky, you can add in a tablespoon of oil. I'm not going to do that. And then if you have it, you can add in 1 tablespoon of white miso, which is an optional ingredient as well. And I don't have that either. So I'm just making it with the water, 1 cup of water, 2 tablespoons of olive brine, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, 1 tablespoon vinegar, 1 tablespoon nutritional yeast. I'm using a half a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of ground pepper, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, and a teaspoon of oregano. You also could use bagel. You also could use basil or Italian seasoning, kind of whatever you have. And then I'm gonna whisk this up. All right, and then I have pressed my tofu, which means I've just like wrapped it in paper towels, stuck it between some weights, and gotten all the water out for about 10 minutes. And then I cubed my tofu into this little kind of, you see the size of that? And then I'm just gonna take my tofu and I'm gonna get it into the marinade. Okay. All right. You see that? All right, and then I'm just gonna stick it in the fridge and let it do its thing until dinner time, which is gonna be about 8 hours from now. That's it. Yummy, yummy. All right, first things first, I have brought some water to a boil on the stovetop, and I'm just gonna add in the farro. This is quick cook 10-minute farro. There are other varieties of farro that will take longer to cook. So I've just added some water. I'm gonna put the farro in, let it cook for 10 minutes, then I will check it for toothiness. Definitely don't cook the quick cook farro more than 12 minutes. And then I'm just gonna drain them out, kind of once that's done. Okay. A little stir. Okay, when the farro is done, I'm gonna drain it and I'm gonna let it cool. I'm gonna put it in a big pot and stick it in the fridge and cool it off before I make the rest of the salad. Meanwhile, I will be doing a very fine dice on about 1/4 of this onion, sweet onion. Again, purple onion would be better, green onion would be better, but this is what I got. And I'm gonna probably quarter each of these grapes. So that is what I'm going to be doing while the farro is cooking and cooling. All right, party people, so I am getting ready to just mix up my salad here. So this is the cooled farro. It's looking pretty good. It's a lot of food. That was about a 1/2 pound bag. All right, and to that, I'm gonna add 1 can of rinsed chickpeas, big old protein. Mix that in. Okay, then I'm also gonna add in, this is that 1/4 of an onion, sort of very finely diced, again for color and really for flavor. Like, I do like the red onion better, but I don't have it. So I'm gonna add this in. All right, and then this is the grapes. I would say this is about 3/4 cups of diced grapes. As I mentioned, you also could rehydrate a 1/4 cup, 1/2 cup of dried cranberries and use that instead. Would give it a very different color profile if you did that. All right, now I'm gonna add a bunch of pepper because I like pepper in my food, but you be you. Pepper's not your favorite, don't use it. And I know some of y'all don't do salt. You can omit the salt if the salt isn't something you do. I'm only gonna put a little in because I think when I eat it, I probably will dash a little fresh salt on there. So I'm probably putting in about, I don't know, that was a big pinch, but okay. Then I'm gonna add in the balsamic vinegar. I'm gonna start with 2 tablespoons. Yep, that looks good. 2 tablespoons looks about right. Okay, so if you are going to eat this entire gigantic bowl, do you see how much food that is? It's so much food. If you're going to eat this entire gigantic bowl, like for dinner tonight, go ahead and put about like a 1/4 cup of, maybe not that much, but like a bunch of mint leaves. Go ahead and chop them and put them in. Because I am going to eat this over a period of days, I'm going to add the mint leaves right before I eat it. And that's just because I don't want the mint leaves to brown. But if you were going to make a big batch of this and serve it as a cold salad meal for your family, all of it, go ahead and add the mint leaves in. So my recommendation is put this in the fridge for like at least an hour before you eat it as a cold salad. Maybe halfway through, mix it up a little bit more. That'll just let the farro kind of soak in all the seasonings that you put in. So I will get this in the fridge, and then I will serve up a little bit for dinner and portion it out so I know how many meals I have. And I'll see you in a few minutes, or actually I'll see you in like an hour. All right, it's time to portion it out and see how much I have. And I think I'm gonna have a lot. All right, so this is a 3/4 cup scoop. All right, so that's 2 servings, 3 servings, and then I've got a little bit left here. So it's gonna be a little bit more than 1.5 cups per serving. Wow, that's a lot of food, y'all. So 1.5 cups serving. Now this is my dinner portion. So I've got a couple of mint leaves here that I'm just gonna, so y'all remember I made that tofu? So I'm just gonna I made the tofu feta, so I'm just gonna get maybe a 1/4 cup of the tofu feta. Just add that in. God, it's a giant serving, people. All right. Then I'm just gonna add some fresh mint leaves on top. And before I eat it, I will mix it all up and it will be delicious. All right, so this is dinner for at least 3 nights, and it is super goj. Yummy, yummy. Yummy, yummy. All right, sitting down for dinner. Got my big, beautiful farro chickpea mint salad with some homemade vegan tofu, a little bit of water, and a sweet treat for dessert. Yummy, yummy. Okay, friends, let's talk about price point. So for this chickpea farro salad, the Trader Joe's farro was $1.79, 1/4 of an onion, about 12 cents. Can of chickpeas from Walmart, 78 cents. You know, I overall, I'll probably end up using about a 1/4 of that mint plant, and then I'll try to regrow it for future recipes. So I priced that out at 75 cents. I paid 75 cents for that handful of grapes. I would note there is some type of massive grape shortage happening in my area, so they were more expensive than they should have been. And then that 2 tablespoons of vinegar, kind of pricing against the cheapest balsamic at the Walmart. That priced out to 24 cents, which means the total cost just for the base salad was $4.43, or about $1.11 a serving. Now, if you choose to make the vegan feta, that's going to add 48 cents a serving. So half a block of tofu, lemon juice, garlic powder, oregano, etc., etc. That tofu feta was about $1.91 to make per serving, about 48 cents. And I just want to thank Osanye. She really or they, not he, not sure what your pronouns are. They really encouraged me to include just basic kind of prices for seasonings that I'm using. So I will try to do that on a go forward. But all in all, like, this is a pretty significant kind of budget meal. Just the salad, which is delicious on its own, is $1.11 a serving. And if you add in some feta, or you add in some homemade tofu feta, vegan feta, it adds less than 50 cents to the overall price. So all in all, I think this is a pretty great budget meal. And I can tell y'all, after eating that first serving, it is absolutely delicious. So Farro is one of those items that I don't buy a lot because I consider it to be a bit of a budget buster. It is $7.99 a pound at my local Kroger. And, I picked up those Trader Joe bags on my last haul because I was downtown where there's a Trader Joe's, and it was only $1.79. So I consider Farro to be like a very special ingredient because I don't eat it all the time. And I'd love to hear from all of you, like, what are some special ingredients for you that when you can get it on special, either buying it at a cheaper place or it's deeply discounted or you've got a great coupon. Like, what are some of those, like, typically budget buster foods, but when you can get them, you're super excited and you have a special recipe that you like to make with it, which is the truth for me here. I love this chickpea farro mint salad. It's like one of my favorite things to eat in the whole world in the spring and summer. So what's like a special ingredient that you really bargain hunt for that otherwise would be a budget buster? And what do you like to make with it? Please do leave all your comments down below. I'd just love to hear what your budget busting special treat ingredients are and your favorite recipes to make with them. And do hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, do all the things you can to help this little channel. And do come back in a couple days. I'll have my May grocery budget report and the June grocery budget. So be on the lookout for that. Thanks so much.